So we're out here trying to make sure that, we're the Black Hammer Party. We make sure that homeless people have access to as many resources as possible, because we're out here trying to get free from this colonial system that continues to put our people in jail, and and criminalizes us left and right for everything that we do. Right, like we could be acting really nice and everything, doing and trying to help the community, and they would still have us locked up. And that's what happened to one of our comrades, Comrade Draco. And, basically right now, that's what we're out here trying to raise awareness about and bring a light to. And we have our Atlanta comrades down at the precinct right now, making sure that everybody and anybody is aware of what they were trying to do. We're literally just trying to serve the homeless, trying to make sure that people have food, clothes, even places to sleep, right? And to get arrested while trying to do that is absolutely ridiculous. So let me introduce myself real quick. My name is Minister Cantule. I represent the nations of Panama and Colombia, and I have a petty boo background and I'm committing class suicide, and I use they them pronouns. And with me is Chief Watakame.
I'm back, y'all. My name is Chief Watakame. I represent the Coca Novilarica people of colonized Mexico. I use they, them pronouns, and I represent the poor and working class. And we're both from the Ministry of People's Affairs, right? And this stuff, is what we're about, right? Like, not just as MPA, but as a party as a whole. This is the kind of thing that we're working to overturn. Because how you gonna arrest a child? Don't get it twisted. Comrade Draco is a child, right? Is 16 years old, trying to do everything in his power to serve the homeless masses, right? Because he, at his age, right, it shows that Cadre doesn't have an age limit, right? Because he's already chosen to dedicate his life to make sure that other people don't live the same life that he has, or the life that the colony has told him is his only option, right? He's trying to change that for people. And our comrades getting arrested for serving the homeless is nothing new. I've honestly lost count of how many times, right? Because they're desperate. They're desperate. And the thing is, we always come back swinging a lot harder. We make a bigger mess for them because they can't stop the people. They cannot stop a revolutionary party. We will keep going no matter what. They can't do anything to stop us. But again, that takes people, right? That takes the masses, which is why we're on live. Like Minister Cantule said, not only to raise awareness of what happened, this disgusting act of pettiness against a child trying to help people. But it takes resources too, because they're gonna tack on as much bail as possible. They're gonna tack on any charges, although was arrested without charges, as always, right? They never tell us why our comrades are getting arrested. But we're out here trying to make sure that we can get them out as soon as possible, because we know that nothing good happens to our people in jail, right? Right now, it took us hours to find out even where they were taking him, right? And again, emphasizing they don't care about our children, right? They always say protect the children. It's all for the kids, but when it comes down to it, when their kids, don't look the way they want, don't act the way they want, our children are disposable to them. And we're here to show that that's not gonna fly anymore, not under the Black Hammer Party. So donate. We're gonna be dropping this throughout the entire live because that's what it takes, right? But CashApp, BlackHammerOrg, you can tag it Free Draco, right? Because that's what we're not gonna stop until that, and then even then we're gonna keep going until we're all free from the colony. So
yeah. 100%. And we've also been blowing up their phone lines, making sure that no matter day or night, doesn't matter if it's a weekend, we don't care if you're they've been having people they be having people on near the phone lines all the time. So make sure that you're calling 404-371-5002. and just tell them free ADRIUS and hang up. Like, you don't need to have a whole conversation with them, nothing. All we're trying to do is make sure that they know what we're trying to do, and that is to make sure that Draco gets free. So
even if they're not answering, keep calling.
mm-hmm.
I called, I don't even know how many times, and they only pick up a handful of times, and so what?
Mm-hmm.
Atlanta don't be answering their phone, their police lines anyway.
Yeah.
Remember when their 911 was shut down?
Yeah.
And even now, even when they were picking up the phone when I was calling, they would just pick up and hang up right away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so much for public protection
to protect and serve
or whatever. Yeah, they're not doing anything.
No, but I mean, didn't you hear that the Supreme Court decided that pigs aren't actually there to protect or to serve us? Mm-hmm. So that they really called themselves out with that, right? Like, their only job is to incarcerate us, right? Mm-hmm. Isn't to enslave us, to harass us, to abuse us, to kill us.
Yep. To protect the property of rich people, right?
Exactly.
Of all the people who have the resources.
To protect the stolen resources.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And that's the thing. Like, by calling, you're making sure that you're getting someone free who is trying to get those resources back to the people, right? We're trying to get Draco free because he's proven time and time again that he is a servant of the people. He's been working to get supplies, sleeping bags, clothes, food, like shelter, right, to the homeless people in Atlanta, all throughout Atlanta. BlackHammer has been working to get people as many resources as possible. And not just resources, right, we're not a donation, we're not a charity, right? We don't just give and drop stuff off to people. We build relationships with people. We uplift them and make them see their own leadership, right? This leadership within a revolutionary party to actually get fully their resources back, get their land back fully, right? And that's exactly how Draco started to work with us, right? He was homeless beforehand, and he started working with us so that he could actually help his community, and that that's the beauty of it, is that it's not just we're not, like I said, we're not a charity. We don't just drop stuff off. And we've met here in Chicago, we've met people who just drop stuff off and leave and just are nervous and whatnot to talk to people
everywhere.
Yeah. And exactly. It's literally everywhere that you go. There's all kinds of charities that do that. But we've been there when people drop stuff off. There's been rotten food. There's been rotten food. People don't even know the person's name. It's probably just a one-time thing half the time.
They drop off hard-boiled eggs in plastic containers in the summer. Mm-hmm. They don't care, right? It's all this trash, and they just throw it on the floor, but to also continue talking about Draco, the reason why it's Draco's leadership is so powerful is because that's what we're building amongst all of the homeless community, right? Mm-hmm. And that's reinforcing our point of unity number 4, right? Which is that only through the leadership of poor and colonized working class people. I said that messed up, but I'm riled up. You know what I mean? Under the leadership of the poor and working class, colonized people, will we be free, right? Mm-hmm. And that is the most proven through the homeless, right? And that's not just us saying it, right? You look at any revolutionary movement, and it's always the lowest class of people mm-hmm. who rise up, right? Look at what happened in Sri Lanka today. You think it was the business owners storming the building, setting it on fire? No. You think it was the petty boo, the international students, the whatever, who are out there fighting because they have no medicine, because they have no food? No, it's the lowest of the class, right? In the colony, at least, right? Mm-hmm. That's who the leadership is, because that's who has the most to gain from revolution, and it's the lowest class of people who even understand fully what colonialism is, because they see the ugliest parts of it. Yep. They see the ugliest parts of it. And they have the most to gain, and they have the most fervor, right? And the most, the most zeal, the most everything. And you really see that through Draco, right? Mm-hmm. As a single example. And that's what we're defending as well, is our point of unity number 4, our belief in that, our belief in Draco's leadership as cadre, right? And we're not going to stop, again, until he's free, until they let him out, because it doesn't, yeah, he's proven his leadership regardless of age, because again, point of unity number 2, right? Mm-hmm. Your age doesn't matter.
Yep.
there are no differences or anything that like determine whether you're better or not. It's about the work you put in. It's about the effort that you put in. It's about like you overcoming your struggles or struggling to overcome your struggles in order to free the people. And Draco does that every single day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I've seen it firsthand. Like, there's, whenever I've had like any sort of like any questions or anything, Draco gets back to me really fast and like overturns whatever contradiction is put in front of him. Like, he is, on fire with everything. Like, just making sure that like left and right, like things are being answered and being overturned. Because he understands it. He understands that like time is of the essence. Like, every single day. Like, that's the thing. Like, with the way the liberals are, like, in their politics and stuff, they think that we have all the time in the world. Like, progress is such a big, thing, right? Progress that can be undone in a second, just like, what happened with like abortion, right? Like, we like progress. Rights aren't supposed to be given, right? Like, rights are like life. Like
right.
right? Like, I don't really know how else to put it. Like, there's not really like there shouldn't be a law that takes away our rights or takes away the rights over our bodies and our land or in our resources, right? And like, it seems like all these liberals and all the like all around the US are just focused on trying to make progress, when that's not, obviously that has never worked. Like, whatever laws are made to protect our rights or whatever in this country can be undone in a second, and just like that, the abortion thing. So we have to and even our right to live, right? Like, being incarcerated, being even in the system, like a foster care system, like, you have so many rights taken away even within that. And it's ridiculous how much not ridiculous how much it's ridiculous how much faith people have in the system that continues to take away our God-given right. So
it's like, oh, vote for change. Vote for change. And it's like, bro, if a group of like wrinkly old raisin fill in the blank for whatever can decide what you can and cannot do with your own body, when you're like, when whatever you want to do doesn't affect anyone else, like, how is that even close to freedom? Especially when these they're not even elected officials, right? They're not even representatives of the people, and it's just, this is no system for us, right? Because they also overturned the Supreme Court of whatever that said that pigs had to like read your Miranda rights. Like, they don't have to do that anymore. They don't have to inform you of what your rights are anymore. They can just arrest you and take you.
Not that they were doing it that often anyway before,
honestly.
True. Like, even when it was like whatever. And that's the thing, that's what it really boils down to, is this system is only, it doesn't matter what laws are in place, because the way that the system is constructed, it is meant to take away those rights left and right. Right? Like, that is literally why the system was built the way it is to keep poor, working class, colonized people at the bottom, and while they continue to take all the resources at the top, right? And within on a global scale, we see that just within the United, like in relationship of the United States and like the rest of like the colonized world, right? Colonized countries all around the world get their resources stolen by colonizer countries like the US or all of Europe, right? And just like in open veins of Latin America, right? That breaks it down left and right of like how resources are taken from our colonized nations and taken basically for like pennies and then sold for like hundreds of dollars, right? Here in the United States. So
yeah, and they have us doing backbreaking work for crumbs of it, right? And like the Black Hammer Party recognizes like how messed up that is, because at the end of the day, it's the poor working class people who produce everything that makes money for the rich, right? And so if we're the ones producing, why aren't we the ones benefiting, right? And benefiting in a loose term, because I think Commander said it best, right? Because it's like, when the revolution comes, we're going to go back to how it should be, sharing, right? Like, as simple as that.
Sharing is caring.
Exactly. But that's the difference, right? That's the difference, is that they don't care. And when we go back to having that dictatorship over our resources, no one will be at need, because right now there is so much waste So much more of any resource goes to waste than what it's actually used. And it's so disgusting, right? And it's killing the earth and it's killing the people and like all of this stuff. And like with us trying to like reallocate the resources in our cities, right? Well, that's what we're fighting. Mm-hmm. And they don't like that. That's why they arrest us, right? They don't want us to reallocate the resources to the homeless, mm-hmm. because then that gives homeless maybe a leg up, right? Mm-hmm. Because that gives homeless people like hope, right? Like and that's dangerous for them. Mm-hmm. And they get reminded of that every time something like what happened in Sri Lanka happens, right? Mm-hmm. It happened in Haiti not that long ago. It's happened in Bolivia, it happened in Venezuela, in Cuba, in China, like name it, right? Any like liberated country or any revolution, it's been the lowest class people who say no more, and then they storm the castle. Mm-hmm. And that's what they want to stop. Yep. And they think they can do that by arresting one of us, mm-hmm. here and there, right? Mm-hmm. But they're sorely mistaken. Yes. Sorely mistaken.
Because in reality, all they are paper tigers, right? And let's take a second to read some PE on that, from Mouse Quotations, the Mouse Little Red Book. Because that's basically that's our version of the Bible here in the Black Hammer Party, right? Like we read this pretty continuously.
Aside from those who actually read the Bible.
Yes.
Political education wise.
Yes, it is our go-to. So yeah, break it down.
So this is on chapter 6, just for future reference. All reactionaries are paper tigers. In appearance, the reactionaries are terrifying, but in reality, they are not so powerful. For a long-term point of view, it is not the reactionaries, but the people who are powerful. And there's just that little snippet because it goes on. Mm-hmm. But it really is that, right? Like they want to seem scary. But y'all, like they try to intimidate us by arresting us with their guns and everything. But literally all it takes is us jamming up their phone lines and screaming outside their building, and then they give up, right? And it's the same game over and over again. And we don't get tired of fighting for our people. Mm-hmm. We don't. Because also every time we fight, right? Like every time you fight, every time you share this, or every time you donate, like you're showing where your support is. You're showing what side you want to win, right? And there's a bunch of stuff online about like the revolution is coming in, revolution needs to be this and revolution needs to be that, and fight for your rights, right? Because of this like Roe v. Wade thing. But it's like, then do it. Mm-hmm. Like, don't just talk about it, do it. And if, you don't feel ready to like join or whatever, then at least support the people who are doing it every day, day in, day out, right? Mm-hmm. And that's Draco. That's mm-hmm. Draco. So again, donate to the CashApp, BlackHammerOrg, with the note, free Draco. Call the number, it's 404-317-5002. Keep calling, jam up their phone lines. If you get an answer, say, free ADRIUS, and hang up. Just that. And just keep pushing, because again, we're not going to give up. But yep. The more, the better.
Yeah, because honestly, like the political education said, right? It takes people, right? Mm-hmm. Like the more, like it is, we are a mass organization. We are for the masses. We are of the masses, and we're here to make sure that all that power goes back to the masses, right? And the power lies with the masses. So the more people that are calling, right? The more people that are making sure to jam up their lines, that's more power, right? And it's a demonstration of that power, right? And what I really liked about how the PE breaks it down too is how honestly, you're right. The pigs are just paper tigers, right? At the end of the day, they have their flashy guns. They got their bulletproof vests or whatever on. And what do they do all day? They just wear it, right? Like they're not actually doing much. They're not actually protecting the people. They're only there to protect property of the rich. So, and so if what we want is for people to actually be protected, if what we want is for people to actually have power, to like overturn a system that is totally messed up, then what do we gotta do, right? We gotta make sure that the other people are out of the way. Am I wrong? So make sure that they are out of the way, not getting up all in their business, which is all that we're trying to do, right? All we're trying to do is make sure that the power gets back to the people. If y'all know what I'm saying.
It's like, it makes sense, doesn't it? Like, it really is just this common sense thing of like, mind your own business.
Yeah.
And like that's what is so like colonialism is so evil. It is so evil from the beginning, and like that's the thing that like kind of still boggles my mind is how it has not changed, like from the beginning, right? Since the pale faces first washed up on our shores, and they
the pasties,
please, what was it? The melanin deficient. The blank documents or whatever. There's a whole list, y'all. Anyways, like these people came looking for, what was it? Gold, glory, and God, or whatever, right? They came looking for resources, right? They came looking for gold, specifically to like Abya Yala and Turtle Island. They went to try to like spread like their bastardized version of religion, because again they use religion to like justify all of their evils. It's not necessarily that that's what the actual doctrine talks about. And glory, they wanted to be known, right? See, and I forgot his name. What's his name? Christopher Columbus.
Oh, okay.
They're like the whole I'm blanking on their names. Hernan Cortés, right? Like all of these people who history has written them down as these great explorers and these great like expansion and like all of this stuff. We know them as what they truly are, and that's evil genociders, right? Evil colonialists who brought the evil lists of the things onto our shores, from disease, from like their weapons that they use to murder us, from a bunch of other things that I can't say on live. Use your worst imagination. And they did that. Like it's honestly so inhumane. Like the things, and even to this day, like the accounts that we have about like what like the early colonial times were, or what slavery was, or anything like that, like we know like overall, right? Like we know, we've heard first-hand stories of like what it was to work in the fields, or like in the caves, or on the sugar plantations, or anything, right? Like we've heard that. But like compare that to now, and how people like maybe like, okay, so they don't get to like outright like flog us anymore, but they work us to death, right? They work us into illness. They work us in like extreme heat, extreme cold, with like improper equipment. They work us in toxic environments, right? And it's just it's not different. It's still our lives being put at risk, our lives being taken for their gain. It just, and it hasn't changed. And it won't change until we copy Mao, until we copy Chavez, until we copy Ho Chi Minh, until we copy, enter revolutionary name here, right? Until we copy them, and we take, or we learn from them, I should say, not copy, but we learn from them and apply it to our current situation, and make those changes that we need to fit us, right? But the end goal, the end result is what we want, right? Anti-colonial revolution and freedom for all of our people.
Yes.
Because again, our lands are rich. Our lands are not poor, right? Because if it wasn't for our lands, Europe would have died out.
From disease.
From their dirty cells.
Their sewer-infested streets.
Ew.
Rat-infested streets.
Ew. And also, like, they're just from, like, their land is not fertile. Right? And
Cold
so
rocks.
Exactly. And but where indigenous people lived in similar conditions, they flourished. They thrived, because they lived in communion with the earth. But anyways,
yes.
No, like that's what we're trying to do, is get back to like our ancestral rights. Yeah, keep calling, y'all. Like right now, they're not letting our Atlanta comrades like take Draco home, right? They're not giving us information on where he's at, and that is because, most likely, right, because he is under 18, right? Which brings us to that whole issue of this situation, is that they're arresting minors without telling them like what they're being arrested for, without like them reading their rights, which they don't have to do anymore, but whatever. But like when we look back, that's also from colonialism, right? That like our youth are out here fighting for their future, right? Because they have lived under colonialism, right? Like Draco has seen what it's like to be homeless, right? And like, why is a child homeless?
Yeah.
Like that should never happen. It should never happen that a child has to wonder about where they're going to stay, if they're going to be safe, if there's going to be anyone to take care of them. Like, it's a horrific thing that no adult should face, you know? Like, no adult should face that either. Like, as human beings, as colonized people, like, we deserve shelter, we deserve safety, we deserve like the opportunity to make the most out of our lives, right?
Mhm.
And that doesn't mean like, well, become a lawyer and change the system.
No.
That's what they want you to believe, right? But like, no, it's about choosing how to live your life according to like how you want, right? And Draco was out here doing that. Like most kids, like most children, he just wants to help, right? He wants to change the world into a better place. Like, and that's what we want too, right? Like as revolutionaries, it's not about like, it's for us, it's not about making a name for ourselves, right? It's not about like whatever. It's not even the center of it is not even hating the colony, really, right? But because we want a better world, we understand that the colony is the enemy.
Yeah.
So therefore we hate the enemy. But because our first goal is to make a better world, right? And we're going to knock down anything in our way to make sure that other kids don't live the life that Draco has, that so many, homeless people have. That yeah.
And honestly, like that's the thing, that's the power of the work that we're doing, right? Is how like we've seen over and over again through like the revolutionary church in Atlanta, that like the unity, like the amount of love, the amount of care that like the Atlanta comrades are building in Woodruff Park, right? Like that's so powerful. Like it's not even just to make a better world, it's also to make sure that people understand their own importance in the world, right? How they can help others, how they matter, because like being homeless like is so hard on people's mental health, right? It's so hard to like just and like the work that we're doing isn't just influencing the homeless, it's influencing all of Atlanta, because all of Atlanta is seeing the work, how it is influencing the homeless, right? So it's growing it's growing every single week, and that's the thing that is like that we're working to continue, right? And Draco is a huge part of that, of making that happen every single week. Whether it's helping get resources to distribute to homeless people, or if it's making sure that the rest of the organization has the power to like continue to replicate the same way that the headquarters is, right? We are making sure that like Draco is not only going to get free today, but also like make sure that he is able to continue doing the work that has been so influential throughout all of Atlanta. And one thing that we've continued to see too is that like young people are so powerful in this work, not just because they're so optimistic, like some of the time. It really depends, like I'm not gonna lie, like when I was like 17 or 18, like that was rough, like seeing how the way the world was and not knowing where like what I could do to make it better,
because you only knew the colony.
Yeah, exactly. And like that's what made me like want more, right? Like want more, not just for like my mom or like my family or even for myself, but also for like the millions of people around the world, because I saw how messed up this world is, right? And that's the power that young people have, is that they are starting to like understand like what is going on in the world, and like what the colony is like, but realizing that is not doing anything. That's not doing anything for them. That's not doing anything for their family. And it's a hamster wheel. It's not leading anywhere. And so that's what Black Hammer offers, right? Is another way to actually influence the world, another way to actually change the world to be better. And so many young people are like have that power, have that energy to be not like unstoppable, to like continue to like fight not, and like I keep saying this, it's really not for themselves. Like it hardly ever is. It's for their community, it's for the world. Like, and that's what why we continue to like push so hard for people to join us. Like, you know, make sure that like you're growing the same hope, the same like type of the same type of organization, right, that we've built in Atlanta, everywhere, you know, we in your city, in your community. So yeah. I don't know if you have any thoughts.
I have a lot of thoughts. No, yeah, I unite with everything you said, you know, and not only like are we finding that providing young people with the hope like instills like all of this energy, but that's not just in young people, right? That we're seeing that in the older people that we meet too, like here in Chicago, right? Like in Toohey Park, like it's mostly older people, like middle age. What is middle age? Like late 30s, early 40s type of thing. But you know, like we've been going there for a while now, and the difference that we've seen from when we first started going there to like now, right? And how much like our comrades there have just like revived, really, right? And like whenever we meet up and stuff, like it's very much, it's very different, right? And like we've been told, like there's like Lincoln at the park, right? I mean, he was like full on since like day one. And he's like, yeah, no, I love it, right? But one of the last times we went, right, he was saying how much of a difference it's made having like the Black Hammer Party in that park, because it went from just being like that's where people sleep to it being like a real community, right? And like they're there for each other and they have roles, and like to maintain the park and things like that. And we you know, we've seen that like talking to Obed, to Vicente, who was gone for a while and then came back and immediately was like, oh my God, hi. And like it was beautiful to see him again, right? But like how, again, building that like revolutionary relationship with people, giving people revolutionary hope, not just in general, but that they can do something about it, right? Because I feel like there's also that thing of like, oh yeah, of course things are going to change, but I have nothing to offer. And like that's another thing that we're teaching, right? Is like who you are is enough. Like wherever you're coming from, whatever point in your life you're at, if you decide to move forward with the revolution, that's enough. Like you don't need, you know, like you
there's not a credentials list.
Exactly. Like you will develop better, like in revolution, of course, right, through criticism and self-criticism, which isn't always a bad thing, right? Like salutes or criticisms as well. But like through doing the work, like it changes the way that you see the world, it changes the way you see yourself, and like again, it doesn't matter where your starting point is, that's enough. As long as you decide not to quit, as long as you decide to keep pushing, like that's enough, right? And we've seen that over and over again in our older comrades and our younger comrades, and in Draco specifically, right? Like the not giving up, right? We all have struggles, we all have contradictions, whatever they are, right? Wherever they come from, the colony, but you know, like wherever, like whatever, like trauma started our contradictions and stuff, like all of that starts to get overturned through the work, right? Like Oju said, right? Draco has shown it through the work, and exactly that's enough for like you to donate anything, anything, because like you have $5, you have $10 that you can go without, right? But here's Draco, who does the work day in, day out, without quit, right? With excitement, with what was the word I used earlier? Fervor. Like does not miss a beat, literally, because also music skills are on point. But like he does the work unapologetically, enthusiastically, 24/7, and he deserves, and the people deserve him out. The people deserve for him to be working for them, right? Like that's the kind of leadership that people deserve. So donate, again, CashApp, BlackHammerOrg, free Draco, anything. You can, I promise you, go without those $15, without those $20, without those $25. Like I promise.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you broke it down. I mean, even like you were saying about in Toohey Park too, we've literally had people tell us the impact we've had, right? specifically Lincoln, like, you know, he's lived near the park before, and then, you know, basically is now homeless in the park itself, right? And works to like organize the park, you know, get newly homeless people like access to resources, people who are you know, literally like days, like they're still struggling to like figure out like where to get food from and like get access to things, and he'll literally bring them to like different food banks or different areas to be like, hey, like this is where, you know, you come over here, right?
First thing he does is introduce us to
Yeah, and almost every time he's like, okay, like y'all should come back here because, you know, Black Hammer's gonna come and they usually have stuff, you know, and like, you know, literally like talks us up and is like, these people are important, these people are good people, and is always giving us so many blessings, always like, you know, God bless you, and always so much like has so much love for us, and it's because, you know, he's seen the work that, because he's been there, like I said, he's been there, like not just organizing the people there, but also organizing like living there, like living with the people, you know. And so he's seen the before and the after of our presence, you know, has experienced it for himself. And I think that that like that in itself, you know, is powerful here in Chicago, but the way that it is in Atlanta specifically, and the way that Draco has helped tremendously, right? Like been a leader in Atlanta, is, you know, it's so much more drastic. That's just the experiences that we've had here in Chicago. But I think we had some posts up, like Kings and Queens in Atlanta not that long ago on our page, Black Hammer Times on Instagram. But yeah, basically like literally people being like, you know, like, oh, like this is where you can go, like Woodruff Park, y'all come drop off your clothes, come, you know, talk, like learn more about what good people are doing out here. And you know, people who like have like seen and talked with us like multiple times will shout us out on like their own social media, or like, you know, and we shout them back out too. The people love us in Atlanta, and Draco is a huge leader in that. And we have to like get our leader free, like one of our leaders free, and you know, and not just like you said, like not just, you know, for himself or for the comrades, but for the people. Once again, like that's all that we are about in Black Hammer, is centering the people. That's at the end of the day, no, you know, no matter what happens, like, you know, like anywhere else in the world, we center the masses, we center the like poor working class colonized people, everywhere. So
and like, you know, right now, as expected, right, any colonized person in jail is treated horribly, right? But we are getting word from our comrades on the ground that the pigs are like being extra horrible to him. So let's be horrible to them by calling 404-317-5002. Sorry?
317.
So the phone number again is 404-317-5002. So call, and again, keep calling, keep jamming their lines. And sorry, self-critical, y'all. There was a mistake in the number. It is 404-371-5002. So I'm going to read it one more time. 404-371-5002. Call them. The phone number will be up on the screen in no time, but call them. Even if they don't answer, keep calling, hang up, keep calling. If they answer, scream at them. Free ADRIUS. Like scream literally at the top of your lungs, just scream at them. Because like, you should be angry. This is a 16-year-old child who is trying to feed the homeless, who got arrested, is being abused by the police. Like, this is disgusting. This is absolutely like it. You should be angry. So call them, yell at them, and then hang up and do it again. You know, get creative. You know, like blast some loud music in their ear as you're yelling free ADRIUS. Because he is a colonized child who, like, I don't even know how else to say, like, no one deserves this type of treatment. No colonized person deserves this kind of, especially not a child, y'all. No child deserves to be arrested for trying to freaking help humanity, literally. That, like, trying to liberate people, trying to bring hope and light and goodness into the world, and he gets arrested and is being harassed by the pigs. No, absolutely not. So again, call 404-371-5002.
Mm-hmm.
Keep calling. It doesn't matter how late it is. What do they all they do is sit on their asses and, like, not even pick up the phone.
Mm-hmm.
They're not protecting anyone.
Okay.
Like Minister Cantula said, all they do is protect property, and when they get bored, they kill us.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's all they do. So call them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, use whatever phone number you want. Throw in some accents. Yell in different languages, but not the free ADRIUS part. You can yell other things in other languages, but just to make sure that they understand.
Mm-hmm.
Free ADRIUS, over and over and over again, right? Like, don't stop. He is a colonized child who's trying to build a better world for all the colonized children to come, right? And he deserves that touch one, touch all energy, right? Which we have.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of us, right? This is one of our children,
Mm-hmm.
one of our leaders.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not going to stand for it, and neither should you, right? It doesn't matter, like, if you've been following the party or not. Like, at the very least, you should be angry that they arrested a colonized child for trying to feed the homeless.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that should make anybody angry. Anybody. It doesn't matter anything else, right? Like, that's enough to make you angry if you're actually about it. If you're actually trying to, like, make the world a better place.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, especially because, like, you know, he's been like we've said over and over again, he's been so influential on, like, in the people for the people in Atlanta, right? Like, you know, making sure that people have access to as many resources as possible, being a leader, to making sure that we can get the, like, resources for people, right? And okay, we got a $20 donation. Make sure y'all keep on going. You know, we, like, you know, $20 is great. Make sure that, you know, maybe you can hit up some family members. You know, if you don't even have $5 to your name, like, make sure that you can hit up somebody and be like, hey, can I borrow, like, $5 or $10? I've done that before.
You don't even gotta tell them for what.
Yeah, exactly. Be like, hey, you know, I'm trying to get coffee or something. I don't know.
Like, CashApp it to me, and then CashApp it to BlackHammerOrg.
Yes. Hashtag BlackHammerOrg. But yeah, you know, and, like, that's the thing too, like, what we were saying earlier about the police being, you know, just paper tires that don't do anything. Like we said, like, we've called, like, literally on my phone, I could scroll down quite a bit, you know, and all of it is literally just calling them earlier, and half of them, you know, just goes to, like, not even a voicemail. It's literally just like a weird tone thing of, like, oh, if this is a real emergency, still going. This is a real emergency, call 911. Like, no shit. But sorry, excuse me. But
they don't answer that either.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, like, you know, so what's the point of this line if you're not even gonna pick up? You know, like, you know, and when they do pick up, there's been times that they just hang up. And even if you do say free ADRIUS, they're probably not even gonna, like, say much after that. They're just gonna hang up on top of that. So, but yes, so, you know, make sure that y'all are calling 404-371-5002 to make sure that, you know, like, no colonized person deserves to be brutalized by the police, especially a child.
Like, y'all, please understand that, right? Like, Draco ADRIUS is a child.
Mm-hmm.
And that should make you so disgusted that you can't even handle it. And if you can't even handle it, do something about it.
Mm-hmm.
Call them, donate to free him. Right? Because, like, that disgusted feeling, that, like, overwhelming whatever, that's the feeling of helplessness. But you're not helpless, because you can call, you can donate. Right? Like, that's, mm-hmm. You're not helpless. Right now, like, Draco is in there by himself being harassed by the police. Right? An African child.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you are not helpless. And Draco right now isn't either, because he has us.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He has the vanguard that's going to do anything and everything to get him out.
Mm-hmm.
But you can be a part of that. Like, this is absolutely disgusting. So it takes, I promise, you know, if you have a thing about phone calls or whatever, they're not going to answer. They're not. They're really not. I think like the handful of times that they did answer me, I think I got through saying free ADRIUS like twice. Most of the time it was like, and then they hung up. But like yell, like really, it's also so cathartic, right? To like yell at them, because this is disgusting, and you should want your stance to be known, right? Even if it's just yourself, who knows? At least you know you did something. But like, if you can watch this, or if you can hear about this child being arrested and not even call a phone number, not try to donate $5, I don't know how you live with yourself. Like, for real, I don't. Like, share it at least, you know? Like, call. It takes 2 seconds.
Yeah, actually, I think I'm gonna call right now. I'll put it on speaker. Y'all can listen. I'll show y'all how it's done. Give me 1 second.
$5 says they're not gonna answer.
For real. Well, and we'll see. Here we go.
You have called the Atlanta Police.
You have reached the Atlanta Police Department.
Zone 6 precinct or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, they're getting paid for this, y'all. They're getting paid for this. Put some of that money that they steal from us anyway into freeing ADRIUS. Right? Like, call. It's just that. They will not answer. I promise.
Yep.
But yeah, we're gonna be back. We're gonna keep getting these donations. And then we'll be back to update y'all on the situation, and to give you other opportunities to donate live.
Yes.
And yeah, we'll be back updating y'all on what's going on with ADRIUS, and how he's doing, if we can even hear anything, because they won't even talk to us.
Yeah, because they haven't even informed us like what he's been charged with or anything. So, and that's the thing. Like, when you I think that is part of your rights. Right?
Maybe
I don't know.
Who knows?
I know at this point, is to be told like, what are you being arrested for?
Yeah, but every time our criminals get arrested or taken, they don't do that.
Yeah.
You know what that's called? That's called kidnapping.
Yeah, 100%.
Child kidnapping, y'all. Atlanta police is guilty of child kidnapping, because they won't tell us. They won't give us information. They won't say anything.
Of literally a child.
So call these child kidnappers and tell them to free ADRIUS. This is disgusting.
Yes, but make sure y'all are putting on your notifications. Our YouTube channel, Ghazi Kozo on Facebook, Black Hammer Times on Facebook, Instagram, our Black Hammer Times on Instagram. All of those, make sure you're having your notifications on, because we be going live everywhere. Because we want to make sure that it doesn't matter what platform you're on, right? We're on, that people know about it, right? So make sure that y'all are on. I know that we were just live not that long ago on Twitter. So make sure that y'all are catching it on there. The Twitter handle is Black Hammer Times, but with no vowels, I think. So BLK. Hammer HAHMMR and then Times on Twitter. It'll probably be up there in a second, but make sure y'all catching us on all the lives everywhere, so that you can be up to date too on whether or not we are able, we're gonna get Draco free. It's just about a matter of time,
Rewatch the lives to get updated. You can still share them. You can still comment.
Yep.
Anything, right? Get the word out there. Get the word out there.
Yep. And make sure you all are calling or donating, or both. So, but yeah, I'm back, everybody. I really hope that y'all are sharing this out to all the different platforms as well. This live, so that if you're trying to get, make sure that if you're trying to get donations from a friend, you can share this live with them. Be like, this is everything that you need to know. This is a kidnapped child. I don't understand, that's basically it.
Why aren't you helping?
So
exactly. Touch one, touch all, right? That's one of our main values, right? Touch one, touch all, because when this is happening to one of us, especially again, a child, where it affects all of us, and not in my feelings are hurt, but for real, we cannot stand for this. We cannot stand for this, and we won't. So touch one, touch all. Call the number, free Darius to move forward the revolution.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Yeah.
land back, y'all.
Land back, everybody.
We'll see y'all in a bit.
Yes.